Hey guys, I'm Matt, turned over 943. Today we'll be taking a look in this video on Lionel's new Pennsylvania GP35 diesel. It's made by Lionel. It's got legacy equipped for it. It's a beautiful engine, and we're going to be taking a look at the details as well as a run session in this video. So let's go and take a look at everything. When deciding to get this engine, you have two choices to make. You have the choice of getting the powered and the non-powered units. That's the choice you have, and the product number for one of the powered units is 6-38536, and that is road number 2297. That's one of the powered units. The second choice is 6-38537, and that is number 2302, which is the model you see here. And then the non-powered unit is 6-38538. All these numbers and things will be in the on the screen right now, so you can take a look at them. And the prices: the non-powered unit is $259. That's for the retail on Lionel's website. And then the powered units are $499. Now, as for me, I got mine for $474, but a little bit of a discount. We'll talk about prices and things like that later in the video. But let's go and take a look at the details, and then we will run this engine. Let me tell you, this engine is really awesome. It's really nice. Here's a look at the engine's pilot. The engine's pilot features a operating electrocoupler, which can be fired using the legacy remote or the other command systems that Lionel offers. I'll go more into those in just a minute. You also have separately applied MU hoses, and then you have a coupler cut bar. The nose on this engine actually looks pretty nice. Right on the bottom here you have a drawbridge, which does go up and down. You got some nice handrail and stanchion detail. Up on the actual nose part, you have grab irons, the Pennsylvania logo, and then on the front you have class lamps. Now these light up when the engine is going in reverse. The ones on the back light up when the engine is going in forward. You'll see this when we power the engine on. On the cab you got windshield wipers. You also have lighted number boards and an operating headlight, and all the lights on this engine are LEDs, for any guys who are curious. The side of the cab is nice. You have a sunshade per each side of the cab. Then you have windscreens on the cab windows. And then these trucks, I don't know if you can tell, but the trucks are very nicely done. Then right here, you might not be able to tell, but it says radio. The side of this engine may look plain, but I'm gonna go ahead and explain why it's this plain in just a second. But you got nice handrail detail, which goes all the way back to the back of the engine. Then on the rear cab, you got things like multi-end latches and doors. The reason why this part of the engine is so plain is because when these engines were made, the GP35s that Pennsylvania ordered, Pennsylvania was merging with New York Central to create Penn Central, and for this merger, Pennsylvania made their engines kind of plain. The only details they really had were the Pennsylvania logos. So they didn't have like Pennsylvania written like here or anything. They didn't have that. They wanted to make the engine look kind of plain. So that's what Lionel did to reflect on this model. The long hood forward end of this engine also looks very nice. You got a nice grab iron ladder coming along right down here. You've got a reverse light which turns on when the engine goes in reverse. You've got lighted number boards which read 2302. You've got lighted class lamps, a Pennsylvania logo, nice handrail and stanchion detail, and then on the pilot you have a operating coupler, a coupler cut bar, and MU hoses. On top of the engine, the top of the engine has a nice horn piece right here. You got a lot of lift rings all over the place on this model, which look very nice. You've got a smokestack right here, and that goes down to the operating smoke unit. And to fill it, you just pour your fluid right down the stack. My only criticism about the smoke vent is that there's no grills up on top here. I don't know if that was a mistake or it was made like that, and it looks kind of plain and kind of weird, but that's just my opinion. Then you got a fan back here. Then on the radiator piece, you got 3 fans, 2 big and 1 small. You've got a lot of nice rivet detail, and then you also got lift rings right here. And then if you were to pull up on the panel back here, that reveals your control switches, your motor, and your battery compartment. Let's go and take a look at let's get a closer look at that right now. Alright, the piece is held on by 2 clips right here. Then on the bottom there's some magnets. And what you want to do to put it in here is you want to get the clip and hook it up to the clips, and kind of give it a little bit of a tug this way, and then you'll be able to put it back on just like that. Then I like to pull it up by the grab iron. Just don't push it up too hard or else you'll break it. So in here we've got the volume control, the run program switch, the Odyssey speed control on-off switch, and the smoke and no smoke. Now my only criticism about the switches is that for some users, if this was their first engine, it'd be really hard to tell the switches, because you can barely see the left side of the switches. If you look, you can barely see the run. You can't even see the ODY at all. Then the smoke, you can just barely see the K. So I mean, it's not a huge deal, but the big issue for me, as of right now anyway, is the volume pot. It's really down low, and you actually need a screwdriver. For most legacy diesels, you can turn the pot by hand, but for this one, you do need a screwdriver to raise or lower the volume. But I mean, these aren't huge deals. They're not. If I was to buy the engine again, which I may, it wouldn't prevent me from buying it again. And then also you have the back motor. You've got the battery slot, and then if you were to turn the engine on, you actually should be able to see some of the light bulbs back here, which that's kind of cool. And like I said, just pop the piece on with the clip, and then you're all set. So let's go ahead and give us some closing thoughts, and then we'll go ahead and power this beautiful engine up. Before we run the engine, I just want to give you my favorite feature on this engine. The favorite feature for me is a no-brainer for me, but for you guys who don't really know a lot about these GP35s, you may want to invest a little bit more into this. But my favorite feature is the 567D turbocharged prime mover. You can't get enough of it. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, when I power this engine on, you'll be amazed at the sounds. It's a beautiful prime mover. You'll love it. And for you guys who don't know about the 567D, just go online and search up 567 turbocharged on Google or something like that, and you can learn a little bit more about it. And then you can run this engine 3 ways. You can run it with Lionel's Legacy command system, which is the preferred way. You can also run it using Lionel's Classic TMCC. You can run it, and then you can also run it using conventional, which is transformer and track. So let's go ahead and power this engine up, and you guys just prepare to be amazed when I crank this baby up. It's fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to be running my engine with this Lionel Legacy command control remote today, and when I power this engine up, I got one thing to say: prepare to be amazed. Let's go ahead and do it.
This is the dispatcher. Do you copy? Roger that. Very good. Start up and hold. Copy that, dispatcher. Starting up the engine. Out.
Listen to this. How How cool is that? Come on, you gotta love that. Alright, here's the horn. Here's the bell. That's a single hit bell. To do that, you just tap the button like this. You also can do a continuous bell. To do it, you do it like this. As I said, when the engine first powers on, the Rule 17 lighting will be turned on, which what that means is when the engine is sitting still, the headlight is a little dim, and then when the engine starts to roll, the headlight will get brighter. And then when the engine is sitting still, the cab light's on. When you were to roll it, the engine's cab light turns off. And then, if it was to change the directions, the class lamps on the front of the engine are shut off. If I was to hit direction, they'll turn on. Just like that. And then if it was to change directions again, they'll turn off and then the headlight will come back on. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the setup on the back of the engine, when the engine first powers on. Okay, when the engine first powers on, the class lamps on the back of the engine are turned on. And then if you were to hit direction, those would go out, and then the headlight would come back on. And this headlight also has the Rule 17 feature on it. So when you were to turn the engine, when you were to roll the engine, the headlight will brighten up. Then when you were to stop it, it would brighten back down. Now, since I picked the prime mover as my favorite feature, I'm going to go ahead and play you all 8 of the RPM levels that are on this engine. I'm also going to increase the bass on the remote, so that would get a nice bass effect. That's also one of my favorite features, is the bass. Let's go ahead and give this a little bit of revs. Go ahead and turn it back down. Okay, pretty cool. Now let's give a listen to some of the crew talk. I know some of you guys don't like the crew talk. Some of you guys might think it's kind of silly and unrealistic, and it is, but it's a lot of fun, so let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Dispatcher, waiting on a clear track. General, over. Negative, please hold. Over. Copy that, out.
Here's another one.
Dispatcher here, please stand by. Over. Copy, dispatcher, we're waiting. Out.
Here's another.
Dispatcher, doubled up, your test complete. Am I clear? Over. Roger, your track is clear. Dispatcher, over. Roger that. All clear. Out.
And another.
Dispatcher here, take the green. Over. Roger that. All clear. Out.
Okay, so let's go ahead and run it. Okay, are we ready to roll it out? I'm going to activate sequence control so some of the sounds will be automated. Alright, let's go ahead and run it.
Dispatcher, we are underway. Over. Roger that. Have a good run. Out.
That about wraps it up for this review. This is a very stellar engine that has a lot of cool features packed into it. If you're interested in purchasing one, the retail for the power units is $499. However, if you go through a dealer that gives some decent discounts, you can get a little bit of a reduction off that retail price. As for me, I picked this one up for $474, so there's a little bit of a discount. And then the product numbers are 6-38536. That's the powered unit number 2297. Product number 6-38537 is the number 2302, which is the unit you see right here. And then finally, 6-38538 is a non-powered unit. That's number 2305, and that retails for $260. I did not have that non-powered unit, and I probably will not get it. I'll probably just get the two powers if I was to get another one. So, but anyway, guys, that about wraps it up. We'll see you guys later.